Following a 5-3 road trip, the Brooklyn Nets look to get right back on track here at the Barclays Center, but they had a disappointing loss, a 92-90 loss at the hands of the Chicago Bulls. Hi, I'm Dexter Henry for NetsDaily.com, and I'm joined today by a very special guest, Mike Scotto from Real GM. He'll talk to me a little bit about the Nets. Mike, we saw a tough loss from this Nets team tonight. They had a 16-point lead at one point in this game, and they lost this game at home to a team that they may end up playing in the first round of the playoffs. Was this the worst loss of the season for the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, I think one thing you have to look at, Darren Williams in the postgame said this was a 16-point lead that this team had, and he was not pleased. The facial expression on his face said 1,000 words. He was not pleased. When you look at the course of the whole season, it's hard to put it in perspective. We got you have 41 home games to take into account. However, when the Nets lose a critical game, especially with playoff position at home tonight, where it's looking right now, possibly the 4 seed is the best seed that they can get right now, and you're looking at potential matchups. This team needs home court advantage. They've thrived in the Barclays Center at home this year, especially under interim coach P.J. Carlissimo. So definitely a tough loss, and the biggest thing had to be for Brook Lopez in the final 30 seconds of that game. Two costly turnovers.
Yeah. And he had a shot to tie the game or send it to overtime. Had a good look there. Didn't go down for him. Net fans will want to look at these stats, Mike. 16 turnovers in the game, 8 in the fourth quarter, and in the second half of this contest against the Bulls, the Nets gave up 56 points. That hurt them. Let's take a listen to what the players and head coach P.J. Carlissimo had to say following this loss.
Physicality. We gave up 36 points in the first half, and we gave up 56 in the second, and we got hammered on the boards. I mean, we pride ourselves on our rebounding, and they took it to us.
You know, it's tough just because, you know, our team was playing so well for the majority of the game, you know, and I contributed a lot to how the final score ended up, you know, and that's definitely not something I'm happy with or proud of.
No, I was just playing basketball, you know, trying to, help my team whatever way, possible. This was a big game for us. We really needed this win bad. So it's upsetting that we couldn't get it, especially being up 16.
All right, Mike, you heard from the Nets. This was definitely a disappointing loss. One they wanted to have at home, but they have another game coming up at home on Saturday night against the lowly Charlotte Bobcats, worst record in the NBA right now. So, Mike, what do the Nets have to do to get back on track on Saturday?
Well, the first thing is the Nets have to come out aggressive early and sustain that success, especially in the third quarter. This team's Achilles heel all season long. One thing I'd like to see the Nets do is have a little bit more of Gerald Wallace out there. You saw it tonight with the Bulls with an undermanned team, without Joakim Noah, without Taj Gibson. This team was still out-rebounded. You have a guy in Keith Bogans who's a great perimeter shooter, but when you're going up against guys like Luol Deng, it's going to be hard for him to get those rebounds. And Charlotte has a similar player in Michael Gilchrist that can get rebounds in traffic for a small forward, and their guards can rebound as well. Guys like Jeff Taylor, they're more well-rounded. So to avoid the same situation that happened tonight, I think you need to see a little bit more of Gerald Wallace, at least in for Keith Bogans.
Looking ahead for the Nets, Nets have made the playoff. They've clinched a playoff spot. It looks like in the first round they'll either play Atlanta or they could play the team that they played tonight in the Chicago Bulls. Who do you think is the better matchup for them in the first round of the NBA playoffs?
Well, I think for storyline purposes, you got to look at the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, Joe Johnson coming over here and all the guys that the Nets shipped over there. But in terms of matchups, I think right now, Atlanta's missing Zaza Pachulia, who could hurt on the boards. Al Horford's there and Josh Smith, but there's not a lot of depth on that team. And I think with Brooklyn, with the combination of Brook Lopez and Andre Blatch in the front court, you have Reggie Evans and Humphries, they have depth. So I think that it's a better matchup in terms of the depth with that team, but more importantly, the rebounding, which we saw was an issue tonight.
Yeah. Also,
you look at a team like the Bulls. They were missing Noah and Taj Gibson, as we alluded to earlier. Those guys are extremely good rebounders, and they hustle. They can give a guy like Brook Lopez trouble, who's a little more fundamentally sound, very much like a Tim Duncan. He's methodical about his moves. A guy like Joakim Noah, a lot more athletic. So that's definitely one thing you have to keep an eye on for sure.
Well, they turned out the lights here at the Barclays Center on us. I think they're trying to tell us to wrap it up. But one thing Nets fans have to be excited about tonight was the play of Darren Williams. 30 points, 10 assists, so that looks good going forward. We'll see what the Nets can do in the playoffs. Nets fans don't want to be disappointed. They'll be looking for the Nets to do well in the playoffs and beyond that. Thanks, Mike, for joining me. From the Barclays Center for Mike Scotto, I'm Dexter Henry, signing off.